Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Pichael, doing another NFL team preview for DraftKings, Best Ball, like Underdog Fantasy, season long, all that stuff. So I'm just going to do a quick run through of what I think about the Panthers and how I expect to approach them in fantasy football. So, first thing I normally do, just to reorient myself, is check out how they did last year. So last year they were 5-11, not great. They're in the NFC South, so they play against the Saints, Falcons, and Buccaneers. So the Saints are a good matchup, the Buccaneers are a good matchup, the Falcons are a good matchup for DraftKings purposes. Most likely, a lot of those games seem to be high scoring, or at least that's the public perception. This year, the NFC South plays against the NFC North and the AFC West. So that means they're also going to play the Packers, Vikings, Bears, and Lions. A lot of those teams aren't great fantasy matchups traditionally, but from year to year things change, so it's tough to say for sure. And then in the AFC West, we have the Chiefs, so hopefully that's a high scoring game. The Broncos, I think that they'll probably be a higher scoring team than most people do. The Oakland Raiders, that'll be interesting. I'm not sure how much defense they can really play. I'm not sure how good their defense is going into next year. I haven't gotten to them yet. And then the Chargers have a good defense, but they still have a decent amount of high scoring games. So let's take a look at their roster and see how things have changed. So Greg Olson is gone, one of the main players for Carolina in the past. Graham Gano is now a Giant. I think that's still accurate. I know there was some news surrounding the Giants kicker situation um, yesterday. Gerald McCoy was released. I'm not sure what his deal is. Gerald McCoy's always been thought of as a very good player. Cam Newton's gone. So last year they had to deal with a lot of backups. Uh, Kyle Allen, I think, was their quarterback for most of the season. So Cam Newton is gone. He's on New England. That's very interesting. Not sure about Mario Addison. Not sure about Dontari Poe, but he is a pretty well-known name. Bruce Irvin is another well-known name. Uh, Vernon Butler, I'm not familiar with. James Bradbury is a good player. Uh, he's good enough. He's not one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, but he's a starter. He deserves to be a starter in the NFL, I think. Seth DeValve, not a big deal. Brian Cox, Golden, Kyle Allen. All right, so obviously a lot of big changes, and then they added Tahir Whitehead. I think that's a good player. Teddy Bridgewater will be the starter this year, coming from New Orleans. He played well when Drew Brees went down, but how much of that is because he was on the Saints, and how much of that is how much of that was Teddy Bridgewater is tough to say. But we'll find out this season. Mike Davis coming from the Bears. He can take some snaps, but he's not going to eat into Christian McCaffrey unless it's like to spell him. Seth Roberts not very good. Pharaoh Cooper is not very good. Eli Apple he's a pretty good cornerback in the NFL. Like he's replacement level. I think going from Bradbury to Eli Apple is probably the same, or at least very similar. TJ Green, I'm not sure who that is. Robbie Anderson coming over from the Jets, so that's a deep threat. He'll be good for best ball and DraftKings. And like that's that looks like the main players. Teddy Bridgewater, he gets to the end of drafts very often, so I think that he's probably underrated because people don't know what he's going to do with full starters touches. But assuming that he stays healthy, I think that Teddy Bridgewater could definitely be a top 12 quarterback for like a season long. Like you have Christian McCaffrey, so you're going to have a lot of Teddy Bridgewater's upside attached to Christian McCaffrey. So if you're drafting from the first or second spot and you get Christian McCaffrey early, you might want to reach for somebody like Teddy Bridgewater because you'd be able to stack them together. That seems like it's probably going to be popular on DraftKings as well. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey, if you have the first or second pick, you have the chance to get Christian McCaffrey. Otherwise, you will not have him on your team. Um, he had a ton of touches last year. Some people are afraid that he is not going to be able to hold up long term, but for fantasy purposes, you can't really think like that. You have to think like what's the highest upside that he has, and then try to figure out whether or not you're interested in that. Um, I don't know much about the backups at all, so I can't really give an informed opinion about any of those players. DJ Moore, he had a ton of targets last year. He was the favorite target of Kyle Allen outside of Christian McCaffrey. So it's interesting, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure I like DJ Moore as much as everybody else seems to like DJ Moore. I think that if you get Christian McCaffrey on your team and you are planning to get Teddy Bridgewater, maybe you do like a double stack, or even more than a double stack for best ball. That would be interesting. I would be interested in creating a team where it's like Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Teddy Bridgewater, Robbie Anderson, and then just see what happens. They should be able to win some weeks. So that's an interesting kind of thing to think about for best ball specifically. But I probably will have that. Also get some shares of Curtis Samuel. It makes a lot of sense to me. Seth Roberts, I'm not too afraid of Seth Roberts or Pharaoh Cooper, anybody like that. Ian Thomas is somebody who makes his way to the end of drafts pretty often. So that is another player you will have to kind of have an opinion on when you're going into your best ball drafts. But that's basically it. So for the Panthers, I think they're an interesting team. It's a tough division for real life football. So maybe they aren't going to be able to win now. But I'm sure that's the goal, because right now you have Christian McCaffrey. You probably want to make sure you're getting the most out of the years of Christian McCaffrey. Because you're not going to, you can't be certain that he's going to stay healthy. You can't be certain that anyone's going to stay healthy. So I think that they will probably be in win now mode, and their roster is pretty interesting from an offensive perspective. So I like it. I could see myself making a Carolina Panther stack like that. But that's basically it for the Panthers. I'll be doing a video like this for every single team, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.